You know what Dylan's probably in the idea of?
What's that?
Spidey being back in the MCU, his next favorite hero to Batman. So last week it came out that, of course, the day after we filmed our newscast, is bastards. But weird, Feige having the week of his life. He's taking Ghost Rider back, he's doing a Star Wars, and he's gotten Spider-Man back. What do you guys think about this news? And also I'll ask you, the deal was they did a deal of 25%, I guess they're producing the movie, but then 25% they get back on first dollar of the ticket, and that means like that before they have to split up between marketing, all that, they get it on the major profits. So one, obviously, just what do you think about that? But two, where do you think he would appear? Because the deal is right now for only 2 movies. One, Spider-Man 3, a Sony produced one with him still in the MCU, but then him making one more crossover appearance. So what do you think, and where do you think that movie would be?
I like to see my man Spidey back, but I'm mad. I'm mad at Disney because it's just so annoying. Between this and the James Gunn thing, like I feel like a lot of this is just to fucking get in the news, to get some PR headlines. I don't know. I didn't really look into that stuff of like the Sony stock and stuff, but like, fucking with Sony stock when they're going through all this and whatnot. It's just annoying that like the back and forth on this. It just feels like such a waste of time. Like, why don't they do this behind closed doors and not jerk us around back and forth? Like, yeah, it makes for some, I guess, interesting topics, but at the same time, I feel like it's just such a waste of time.
Technically, Sony put
nothing. Because at the end of the day, what does this news mean? It means nothing. It means that nothing has happened, like between where we started and where we are now. Yes, Sony gets like slightly more % off a ticket. I don't care about that. They both have an insane amount of money. I don't care if they get like 10% more on a ticket.
I would counter that. Taylor brought up a good point that we could be witnessing the writing out of his Spider-Man. So that is something that's changed, right? This might be either two things, either a placeholder deal to be like, let's work it out more, or it's going to be like, hey, let's not end with him having the big cliffhanger. Let's do 2 more, end that story, and you can go off into Venom 2 and have some fun.
I'm just annoyed. with Disney fucking around.
But not Sony either? Not Sony either? Because Sony put out the first statement of it wasn't public until Sony's like, oh, Kevin Feige's too busy.
I'm annoyed at both of them, but I just put the blame on the big D.
So is Spider-Man back on the table for Disney?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yikes. For 2 movies.
2 movies. One, Spider-Man 3, and then the MC one. You got to start reading the crew group breakdown.
3?
What? Yeah. Spider-Man 3, sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah,
Far From Home. So that's Spider-Man 3, and then one more like crossover.
Where were you 1 minute ago when Travis explained it?
I was reading the thing about open water, making sure.
You were reading about open water. You were missing out on crucial news to read about open water.
I said, give me a second to see if we're talking about the same movie here. And then I pulled out my phone.
So you want us to stop? You want us to pause the cast so you can make sure
I'm
you're
just trying to interject myself into this new conversation.
So what do you think about this? And then Dylan, you can answer too again after. But where do you think he appears in the MCU now that he has one more movie? And even then, do you think this is
that's not
movie?
His own?
Yeah, not his own.
Movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Bucky and Falcon, but
not a movie. Yeah,
not a movie.
I guess technically they could, but I don't think they'll put it on Disney+.
I want to see with Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, okay.
That's what I want to see.
Okay.
I have no clue where they might actually put him.
Okay, and do you think this could be a placeholder deal, or do you think this is them maybe writing the character out?
They'll definitely leave it open-ended, right?
Placeholder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the amount of love for Tom Holland is just like it's a risky move to write him out. Mm-hmm. I think even if he only gets like his 3 solo movies, I think they keep it around for those crossovers through I don't know, another phase or 2 at least.
The Morbius movie.
I think they would definitely still have to make those movies. Sony, I think, has to make a movie every 4 years or they lose the right to Spider-Man. So they always have to make a solo Spider-Man movie.
Sony does.
Yeah, because that's in the contract.
Yeah, but Spider-Verse counts for that, right?
No, I don't think so. I think it has to be live action. It could, but either way, I think they would have to. I don't know if Venom counts, but I think Spider-Man by itself.
So what's changed then? Because they haven't made one in 4 years.
Yeah, they did. Spider-Man Far From Home.
Sony, you're talking about the Sony-made movie, though, aren't you?
That is a Sony-made movie, technically. What happens is Disney makes it, and then Sony just gives them the money. They're like, oh, if you need this, but now it's like Disney's now paying 25%. So it's technically a Sony movie. That's why I don't actually think the Spider-Man movies will be on Disney Plus either, because technically they're Sony movies. Technically. So
gotta get that steel case, baby.
Yeah. Taylor, you suggested your little theory there. Where do you think? What do you think? Where do you think he's appearing? Do you think this is a done for him?
I think it's I was actually thinking earlier today how we thought we were gonna get like our 9 movies, Sinister Six, the whole shebang, and here we are.
D scooper, D tier scooper, you know.
Yeah. It was a brighter age back then, but now we're unfortunately in this scenario. I am so happy though that he is back because it really hurt me. I bought Far From Home the other day.
Hurt you?
What?
It hurt.
Oh yeah, personally. Yeah. But I picture, Feige, he's doing things. He's like Mephistopheles from Ghost Rider, whipping those contracts out, getting people to sign them.
That's Mephistopheles.
Yeah, wait, what?
That's a strong reference.
He's just the devil, isn't he?
Well, I didn't want to call him that because that's a bit rude, but I'll call him the contract guy. He's
the devil. That's who he's playing.
Cracking necks, smacking checks.
That's a good. I appreciate this like a relevant Ghost Rider reference. Well done.
Well, I have to drop it in there because I need him to put Ghost Rider in there. And you know what? That's where I want to see Spider-Man thrown into the MCU. I want to see him with the Ghost Rider in there.
No.
And Doctor Strange, actually.
That's your answer to everything.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't pitch him for the Batman cinematic universe. Ghost Rider. Feige needs to make that deal.
DC buys Ghost Rider.
But then, no, where do you realistically see him? I don't think you realistically actually see him with Ghost Rider.
I'm going to go with a bold claim and say Fantastic Four.
Oh, I'm so down for that.
That's really bold.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
More Captain Schmarvel.
I like as far as Spider-Man 3 goes, I'm happy because that will obviously conclude the story arc and figure out like, okay, Mysterio's plan will be kind of like concluded, and we'll get more of like J. Jonah Jameson, which will be fantastic.
I hope so. Yeah.
I hope so. But that being said, now would this MCU movie be after Spider-Man 3 or before? Do we know?
They haven't clarified, but I don't know, because if they do, like if they did Doctor Strange, that's before Spider-Man 3. I think I don't know what the contract states. I don't think it states anything, but I think it will be after Spider-Man 3. I think they're going to handle the whole cliffhanger there and then go into the future. And my prediction is they save him for whatever crossover is next. They haven't announced what's in
Young
20.
Avengers.
Yeah, they
Deadpool.
haven't announced what's in 20. Deadpool would be the ideal.
Damn. Yeah,
that and
Deadpool.
Fantastic Four I'm down for. I just think they save him for a team up movie because he's been in it. Every other one he's been in, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. It's all been team up, so I think they'll save it. We don't know what's coming out 2022. That is what Endgame came out this year, right? So that's 2020, 21, 22. That's 3 years. Before, Avenger movies were always spaced 3 years apart. I don't know if there's Avengers movie, but if there's a big crossover 2022 movie, I think that's where you'll see him. It's a year after, and I think they will write him out, but not in a way of like, oh man, Kraven decapitated him. I think it'll just be in a way of like, I'm going to college and I can't superhero as much as possible, but it's a way of like, hey, if there's a big event, we could strike another deal, or Sony can go make movies that he'll move. I think they'll write him out in a way where he may never. It's the same way in Iron Man 3, right?
They just got to Madam Web it so that he can be in alternate dimensions.
That's where I am happy that Sony is not on their own. I defend them a lot, but when they announced the Madam Web thing, or it came out, it got scooped, and I was like, man, this is why they should not be making Spider-Man movies right now, because I just don't trust them live action, even though I was gonna have faith. But I think that they will do like Iron Man 3, where Tony Blue Ball suits, right? And then what happened a few years later in Ultron? I'm just still Iron Man. Oh, okay. I think they'll do that. Well, they'll write off in a way where he could easily come back. He's not going to lose his Spire powers. Miles isn't going to take over. He'll be gone, but he could come back at any moment. And plus, if Apple, my last point, there's rumors Apple might buy Sony. If Sony gets bought by a company, the contract states that company does not keep Spider-Man. The rights revert back to Marvel. So even if we somehow bought Sony, we wouldn't be allowed to have Spider-Man.
We don't have that much money, Travis.
No, not yet. We're nobodies. So if we head over to Patreon and help us buy Sony, and we'll make some. Yeah. You want to see that? We'll make that Toby, Tom, Garfield thing happen. I trust you, but
I trust you.
I trust in me, but I think they'll write them off in a clean way.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Like, I want the third chapter to be like, his conclusion and story, and leave it at that. And then, just casually, they could just, swing Spidey into another movie with us not expecting it as a nice treat, and then have him carry on.
Unfortunately, you'll always hear it because they got to make these contracts, right? So there'll always be an announcement. They'll never just surprise us.
I know.
And my gun to head, I'm not saying I think they're going to write them out. I just think if they did, that's how they go about it. I'm honestly a 50-50 if it's a write out or it's just a placeholder. It could go any way, especially after this week, right? So
yeah, I guess I meant in the sense like with Civil War, they just swung him in there, and then his story ended there, and that would have been fine if that was the only Spider-Man we got. Like, I'm happy we got more, but like they wrote him in I think enough.
I don't know
because
about that.
like obviously they put him in there with the
I don't know about that.
the anticipation like okay you're gonna see him in more movies, but they trickled the heroes in there enough like it's in there. There's their story, and we can move along onto the bigger story that's happening. Obviously, in an MCU film, they bring him in. There's going to be a much more bigger story happening that we are more focused in, and they can just remove him from play just as easily because we're focused on the bigger story. So
Yeah. Put him in the fucking Blade
There's so
movie.
many characters these days.
That's what I want.
The Blade
Put him in
movie?
the Blade movie. Oh, yeah. They're always around in
yeah.
New York. It's not going to happen, but
Well, it works because you got Morbius, Spider-Man villain. Blade hunts vampires.
I've dealt with vampires. I don't not need Jared Leto working his way in the MCU, though.
Yep, that's how they introduced Blade as a cameo in the Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
And then he
boy.
gets his own movie.
Dylan, you're
That's
sticking with
wild.
the Fantastic Four? That's your
Yeah,
prediction?
I'll stick with the 4
Mhm.
because it's kind of fun. I do like the Deadpool thought.
Mhm.
So if that happens, if Deadpool is something that Disney wants to play around with seriously, then I could see that.
Yeah.
And that's like my number. That'll switch to my number 1 pick.
I just feel like they kind of have to. We went through Comic-Con and D23, and we've not still heard anything about Deadpool. No Disney Plus, no movie. I feel like we have to soon now, right? It's so big of a property. They talked about they're going to do it. So I feel like next Comic-Con, it's a long way away, but I feel like next Comic-Con we have to hear something about Deadpool. It could happen sooner. Who knows with this Sony news? We could one Thursday wake up and say, oh, Deadpool's going to be in... the Eternals. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, okay, that's weird,
Holy
but
shit.
let's do it. So
That would be wild.
I just don't know where. Maybe Doctor Strange. I don't know, but I'm surprised we've still heard zero about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, as that's a very lucrative franchise and nothing.
Maybe he'll lead the Young Avengers.
I don't think that's a
Yeah.
good call.
Yeah. I mean, with the with the Spidey contract as well, it could just be like a placeholder thing while they're still figuring out what they want to do with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Because they might know we want to get these two to work together, but what do we have to do to get that first? They're still kind of working through the numbers and the pages and the fine print.
They probably still don't even know if Deadpool's going to be rated R or PG-13.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
again,
I don't think PG. No, actually, no, I do.
everyone
It's
brace
gotta be rated
yourselves.
R.
It's going to be PG-13. I really
Brace
think
yourselves,
so.
yeah.
Brace yourselves.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but
Yeah, it's not what you want.
no.
Yeah.